And welcome back to the best thing we watched this week. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies and myself from the Ruby Tuesday. If this is your first time, what we do here weekly is talk about literally the best things we watch, from a cornucopia of streaming platforms to cinema releases to sometimes games and even books. So what you get on this podcast/videocast is an amalgamation of what our googly eyes have seen that week. Sometimes it's poo, and it's so bad that we have to find topics to talk about because some weeks are just really, really difficult. But I think if this is your first time you're coming here, I think you've caught us on a good week of content, especially from what Chris's noddy noggin and my noddy noggin. I have loads to talk about, so bear with us if we go on a bit this week, and we'll try and get through them as many great entertainment pieces as we can. Also, our Patreon this week, very excited about that one. We have our top 3 Indian movies. I say Indian in generalization from Tamil, the whole lot, because yes, that is not where I naturally gravitate towards, but it's a big, Bollywood is just a part of it. There are also non-Bollywood films, surprisingly.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that in our Patreon. Did I miss anything out in our intro, Chris? What else do I need to talk about?
You can tweet at us at Best
Yes.
We Watched.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can hear the full audio version. We do an extended audio, and you can hear that wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. We'll link that also in the description below.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will be talking about in the news segment, and I think Chris as well. It's been Disney weekend with D23 Expo, and there's just been
Yes.
a cornucopia of content coming that I'm excited about. They've got some really interesting new TV series and new films. So we're that in our entertainment news section. However, let's get into it. Last week's movie quiz. Who won, Chris?
So Nostromo came out swinging, and he got all 3. Except I'm gonna call you out, because on the final one, you went general. You didn't go specific with the movie,
and considering his knowledge.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I consider it one big movie.
Yes,
so
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give it to you there. But the answers, the first movie was Being John Malkovich, which got
Malkovich.
That was
yep.
Yes. The second one I did not get, but once I looked it up afterwards, I was like, oh yes, I totally remember this. It's Point Blank.
Yes.
And the original one, not the remake.
I don't know that there is a remake. I have no idea of that recollection ever being made, Chris.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mind it. I mean, it was fine for what it was, I think. It's not, like, utterly memorable. So, there you go. And then, The Fellowship of the Ring. One does not simply walk into Mordor.
No, one does not.
Our great scene being.
You fly there because... And I guess we can ask Chris, as we hear. Chris, which is the better trilogy? The original Star Wars or the original Lord of the Rings?
Are we really getting into that here? What the... Wow, are you trying to start an internet war? What in the world's going on? The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Okay. But you can...
I love... And that's not to diminish, though.
Didn't diminish the original Star Wars.
The Star Wars. No, because I love that one, too. The emotional impact of Lord of the Rings is greater for me than Star Wars is, even though I cheer for Star Wars and love that. So
right, but isn't it just 3 movies about walking, Chris?
Which one? The Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah, but guess what? It's not like The Hobbit, where a dwarf, well, he's not even a dwarf, he's a hobbit. He goes on a very long walk and wakes up a dragon. That did not need to be 3 movies.
No, that is true. I was being facetious. Of course, Lord of the Rings is an amazing trilogy. And I'm not a huge fan of the original Star Wars. Like, I like them, but I don't hold them in high regards. I've watched them recently, and I feel like they're dated. The filming, the techniques, the dialogue, compared to what we're used to now. And I really like the prequels. I know there's characters in there that people don't like. Jar Jar Binks, for one, a lot of people just don't like that character. I get it. But for me, Ewan McGregor, man, that's him as Obi-Wan. Perfect character. Qui-Gon, just little bit of moments. Yes, it's all Obi-Wan's fault. Will always grind my gears. So, as I've gone off topic.
No, it's good. It was well. No, let me follow because I think Empire is what is like that's my favorite from the original trilogy.
I would agree.
But
yeah,
but episodes 2 and 3 are phenomenal. Like I love episodes 2 and 3. I'm not a big Phantom Menace fan. I mean,
okay.
It's not. I don't hold it as. I don't think it's utter trash. But it's just not one of my favorites. But episodes 2 and 3, I rewatch those.
Man, I remember the first time seeing Revenge of the Sith, being in the cinema. That first 10-minute opening sequence with the drums that go boom, 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 just heavy drums, and you don't see anything, and then their ships just go over into this space chaos battle. I'm like, oh, we're in for it now. It was great. Yeah.
It's a fun, yes.
Oh, it's a fun. Okay, sorry. I took us off on a wild tangent, and it's not like we don't have enough content to get through today.
Yes, but tangents is one of the things we do here.
It is. I'm also trying to get my movie quiz cards. I've packed them under my can. Oh. I got it. It's cool. All right, nice. So Nostromo, well done. I'm going to do some more movie quizzes this week. Let's see if somebody else can take the mantle from Nostromo. Okay, as always, I will say the words first, and then if you want me to read the full sentence, I will do that. Okay. Teen angst bullshit.
Yeah, I'm going to need the whole thing.
Okay. Dear Diary, my teen angst bullshit now has a body count.
Oh.
Let me say it in a... Dear Diary, my teen angst bullshit now has a body count.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure though, but I think I do. Okay.
This is an 80s movie to give people a clue.
Okay, that changes it, but now I'm more certain of what it is.
Okay, cool. All right. The words for the next one. Life-sucking bitch.
Oh. Go ahead and give the thing. I think I know what this is.
I want to name her Dottie after my wife. She's a vicious, life-sucking bitch from which there is no escape.
Again, not the original one I was thinking of, but totally know what that is. I can hear him saying it.
Right? It's such a good line. Okay.
Yes.
Royal penis.
Gonna need more context with that one.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
Yes. For the first time ever, I think I've gotten all three.
Oh,
outstanding.
Hey, well done. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, maybe. Well, I say that confidently, even though I'm not totally confident on the first one. So whatever. I'm going to go with my confidence there.
Okay. Nice.
All right. So let us know in the comments, right? Give us your best guesses. If you know them, no cheating. Don't look it up first. Just type your first answers.
Where's the fun in that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just bragging rights anyway. There's no prize other than bragging rights. Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, you get a sidekick. Okay. Sidekick.
I love that movie so much.
Dude, Bruce Campbell's so great.
He's so good in that movie. Sidekick.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Digress again. Tangent. Okay. So would you rather have Donkey from Shrek or Mini-Me from Austin Powers as your sidekick?
Good Lord. Tomorrow I'm making waffles. Donkey. Are we there yet? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, my mouth was open and everything.
So Donkey is a talking donkey, but what else can he do? Nothing. He's just irritating.
Well, he can make waffles, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So he talks and he has opposable hoofs.
I don't know. Maybe he uses his hoofs to stir and mix.
He just flattens it. He flattens the batter. Yeah. And then there's Mini-Me.
He's a person So there is an advantage there. I mean, has full capabilities, you know.
We're talking Mini-Me the actor, or just Mini-Me the character from the movies of Austin Powers?
Not Vern Troyer, Mini-Me as the character.
All right. I'm going to go Donkey. Mini-Me in the film creeps me out a bit, so I'm going to... Donkey seems way more fun. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. That's where I would go to, just because even though the incessant talking, I think would get tiresome, just like he does with Shrek.
Down, Mini-Me, heel. Well, then.
Well, you shut up.
That's a weird question.
Right, I know. Well, what are you gonna do? There you go. Okay, who would you choose? Would you like Mini-Me or Donkey, or maybe? Who else would you choose as a sidekick if you could get one? Because, I mean, this is all
amazing.
Believe anyway. Oh, man. Okay. Enough silliness. Well, not really, but let's dive in. What do you think? Best thing we watched?
Let's do it.
Okay. Should we talk about the movie that I think we're going to talk about?
For sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So we have been looking forward to this movie for months. Ruben was the one who told me about it, looked it up, didn't know anything about it, saw the trailer and was like, yep, that looks outstanding. And that is the Indian. I classified it as a superhero action adventure musical romance.
Oh, yeah. I would class it as a rom-com fantasy, supernatural, cultural specific escapism film. Musical.
Okay. And musical. Yes. Yes. And I forgot fantasy because that does play a good part in there too. But we're talking about Brahmastra.
Yeah.
And to be more specific, Brahmastra Part 1,
Shiva.
Yes. Okay. Talk to me, Goose. What did you think?
Talk to me, Goose. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And my wife, I dragged her to watch this, basically kicking and screaming because she's watched me watch a few Bollywood Indian films, and she's never been like invested enough to get like, I want to watch that. So when I said, hey, it's your day off, do you want to come with me? I've booked us 2 tickets, so I've spent the money, so you got to come anyway. And we didn't go to our local cinema because it wasn't showing. It's basically not showing anyway. We had to go to a specific one, so it's a bit of a drive.
Yeah.
But the cinema, I've never been to a cinema deluxe before, but it's one of those reclining chairs that the feet come out and the back can go up. Like it's, you have so much space and room.
Time out here. That's a difference that you normally don't have access to.
Oh yeah, no ways. Oh, that is very unique for us.
I think all of our theaters now, other than the art house one downtown, have all transitioned to that. Been that way for a couple of years.
Oh, so in the UK, we live in the Stone Ages a bit, and we have like these fabric carpeted chairs
that have the thickness of about an inch, maybe half an inch.
I mean,
there.
that's a bit. It's a bit of an over exaggeration, but yeah, that nothing like that would be classed as like VIP section, and even the VIP section chairs aren't that good. So yeah. So I went with that and wall-to-wall speakers on the roof. It was like 3D, 4D audio sort of thing. The screen was slightly curved like a IMAX. And I was like, cool, this is going to be great. And it was so loud. The whole movie was so loud that my wife she brings earplugs. And I see a lot of people doing this now as well. It's not a new thing that she chucked in her earplugs. It was still loud for her. Like, that's how loud it was. Yeah. Anyway, she loved it. Like, she thought, she came out and we were chatting for like 5 to 10 minutes afterwards about this film. We didn't expect it to be a love story, first of all. We thought it was, because the way I pitched it, it's astroverse. There's part 1 and 3, their MCU sort of thing, which is quite funny because they do have a line when they mention the Avengers, which I thought was like a little nod to them. And its core theme is about the power of love. That's what the driving force behind the story is, how powerful love is. At the end of the day, Harry Potter was that as well. Yeah, love. And I thought, wow, but that was really interesting. So it doesn't matter what culture you're from, where in the world you're from, everybody understands the theme of love, and love conquers all sort of thing. how they go about showing that was very different. And then, to top it off, the thing I was most worried about was the musical numbers and how it actually fits into the story. Because so many times I've seen the Bollywood films where now we're doing a 5 to 10 minute musical number, but doesn't really have any relevance to the story. And I like them because generally they're ridiculously expensive, probably more expensive than any MTV music video that you've seen. The amount of effort they put into these numbers, the costume changes, all of that, hundreds of people. And there's one particular one in this film that transitions from a cultural, religious overtone Diwali to DJ stuff. And the music transition of that was spectacular. Did you like that bit as well?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but the musical numbers all played a part in furthering the story as well, which I thought it just tied in really well. So I was like, I breathed a sigh of relief. Then spending the amount of time they did on the backstory, like the first hour on our main protagonist, who we like, who is an orphan of orphans. He looks after orphans even because he's lost, because of the story, without spoilers. There's stuff in his background that makes him an orphan. You just like him as a character. I said to my wife, it feels like Bollywood is here to stay, but it also feels like they haven't come out of the 90s films. Like when Hollywood was doing blockbuster action popcorn flicks that were just fun escapism films. That for me is this in a nutshell, added with culture and music. So it's explosions, it's super big and expressive. It's also totally unbelievable. But it's back in the day where those films are what we wanted. We didn't want to go from our daily, depressing work, COVID world, people dying, the Queen dying, our government changing. The last thing I needed to go was another realistic look at life.
Sure.
And that's very much what Hollywood is into at the moment. Biopics up the wazoo, everybody telling us how crappy life is. And you get an Oscar, and that's fine. There is a place for all of that. But for me, what flicks my switch is escapism. And man, this film just delivered on every part. From the incredible score and theme, which I was humming at the end, to the actual songs that I was tapping with my foot and enjoying. Just like, you should have seen me. I was in it, Chris. I was like, yes. Come on, let's go. I could talk about this film all day. You tell me what did you think, Chris?
Okay. So yes, the escapism was outstanding. I thought the special effects were done so well. I mean, it was actually a breath of fresh air, especially where we have come from watching Hollywood movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, the beginnings of the MCU, through a lot of that. I mean, having some really good CGI till now, most of these have been sketchy. And we know that it's because they're pushing out too many, that it's overworked. They're, too last minute changes, the whole thing. So I don't blame the effects houses on this. It's just the quality has seen a decrease.
Yeah.
And visually, I mean, we can see that. This was like, wow, these are great when they're used. That was the other thing, that it didn't rely on these all the time for that. Let's go to the music.
Okay.
Me too. I was tapping my foot. The big dance number that then transitions into the dance scene, or the DJ, the techno house type of thing. Yeah. I was like, wow, that was impressive. Yeah. I mean, not only from a visual standpoint, but also just from a musical standpoint, being able to transition to that. I thought that was it was a lot of fun just watching it too, because it is expansive. You see them going through it's a large amount of people there. The other song, the love song, Deva Deva, which I love, in that you hear the theme that's played through the rest of the movie. And like you, I mean, I was humming it. I noticed it. I was like, oh yes, it evokes emotion as we go. Our main protagonist, Shiva, how awesome is it to watch a movie where even though we have kind of a reluctant hero, the dude is a good guy from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like he's always a good guy. He doesn't have this big personality flaw that he has to overcome so that then he can have his hero moment.
Yeah.
He just needs to realize why he wants to do it. That's the biggest thing, and what his trigger is. Yes. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought the emotion that's carried out. I mean, it takes us on this journey, and I loved that it took so long, I think, to really get to that the crux of maybe, or the climax, or the point where the battle is then going to begin. You know, that we've had action along the way.
Yeah, it's not like there isn't action and excitement. There is the whole way through. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they balance it really well through that. But within this, we get drawn into the characters. We get to learn about them so much more. And then, like you said, I was not expecting the romance angle. That whole love story that is in this is so, I mean, it's moving. Like
one of the comments, or a couple of the comments I got was, did the love story detract from the hero story? And going into this, had I known that was like a huge part, I probably would have gone, not like, do we actually need that? But how integrated it is empirical to the storyline. Like, you have to have the love story in here for this story to work. It's the thing that drives everything. And I totally bought it. I was rooting for it. It's so cliche because he looks at the woman that that he's going to spend the rest of his life with.
Totally.
That's the woman. But it's not like they suddenly just end up in love. They got to work some things out. There's trust issues, who she is, who he is. And by the way, there's this thing with me that's weird. And she's like, yeah, that's weird. and then, like, as things start to be revealed about him, I like the fact, like you mentioned about him being a good guy. She is also just all around awesome. Because there's this whole class system as well that is hinted and spoken about, which I thought was really good. That's a big thing in India. I mean, everywhere in the world, but also India, the class systems there are a big, like, you are not allowed to speak to a certain person if you are from this sort of demographic or this kind of class. It's just not done. Well, that was my experience of being in India the times I have been. Okay. So I thought that was really shining a light on just something that was beautifully done. Yeah. And so she's just awesome. So you're rooting for both of them. So when stuff starts to happen to both of them, you're like, oh no, you're genuinely concerned for them. I do have one drawback though, and this may be sorted out in subsequent films. But the bad guys are evil for the sake of being evil. Like, there's no real background story to them. Now, we do know that part 2 is called Dev, so we're getting what seems like a whole story as to why he is, or that. And without going, I don't want to do any spoilers. I can't give anything about him without kind of messing up this story. So
yeah.
Not going to do that. All I'm saying is I did want meat, because I like the fact that it was very contained. And it wasn't too many heroes that they were going into. It was just about kind of a protagonist and that story with him until the end. They would start introducing a few other characters, which I'm guessing is setting up part 2 and 3. That's great. But, there was this one particular female antagonist, or the enemy and her minions. And I was like, but who are you? Why do I care that you're bad? That for me was the only, and then it's minuscule. I still rated this 5. Nicolas Cage is at 5 because I just loved every moment. It set out what it set out to do on the tin. It did for me, like tick 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 tick.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about too, because I think it's important, at least for how we approach movies and how we rate them. This isn't a perfect movie.
No,
it has some predictable. There's actually quite a few predictable moments
for sure
within this. Yeah. I think Shiva's arc with some of the reveals is very predictable in that. but still, I came out loving it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it is important, because it's like you have to take into account, I have to take into account at least how much enjoyment I got out of it, despite there being flaws to it. Because if I can have a blast with it, it overshadows any shortcomings that might be there.
Exactly. Yeah. You also feel like you earn the action sequences and you earn the ending. And the ending is big. Yeah. Like, I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know how big it was going to be until there were these moments I thought, oh, that's the action sequence done. Oh, no, it's still going. Oh, it's getting bigger. Oh, the consequences are even more. And I was like, this is amazing. And also, please don't die. I like this character sort of moments.
There was, I think they did the climax very well. I mean, it was, I was invested in it. And there's a moment where somebody does something and you're watching it build and then it just happens and you're like, ooh. That was... Yeah.
There's also consequences. There's not a get out of jail free card for every character. And you might be going into, well, this was a hero film. They're all... I don't think so. Because there's a moment. I was like, are you serious?
That was...
Okay.
Shocking, right?
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that... I was like, oh,
yeah.
You... Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. If you've never watched a Bollywood film at the cinema, go and watch this just for the spectacle, the score, the soundtrack, the enjoyment of the experience, and see if you can find a really full cinema screen. Because unfortunately, the one we went into had like 5 people in, but I did notice like all the screenings in the evening completely booked out. Which means that there is a culture already. They've been excited to go and watch this. I want to watch it with people that are there to enjoy the film, not go, grumpy grumps. Yeah.
Mine. I was lucky enough. Mine was an early evening showing, and I think there was probably 15 to 20 people in there. Which is, my showing was 3D, which was cool.
Wow! So you watched it in 3D?
I watched it in 3D, yeah. And so it's not the crap that comes shooting out. I mean, it's just the depth.
It's depth.
It's the proper how I enjoy 3D now.
Well, speak about that for a bit. How was that?
It was cool. I mean, I don't think it. I mean, it's hard to say because I haven't seen it non 3D.
Right.
Like to see how that difference would be. It wasn't bad. It didn't deter that. I mean, it was kind of cool in certain circumstances because you could feel the depth. You could feel that, and it gave.
How was that for 3 hours with your eyes?
I was fine. Okay. No problem at all. Nice. Like you, it was funny because you described exactly what happened in mine. When I've seen Indian films, they have a built-in intermission, and so I knew this going in this time, and so I was like, okay, so I can plan my bladder pressure, and we get to this climax, and then in the right-hand screen or right-hand bottom corner of the screen, intermission flashes up, and I'm like, sweet, and I start to get up, and the movie keeps going, and I went, oh, wait a minute, I held then out. They did, totally, which was not the right thing because in my head now, my bladder was like, okay, we're getting ready to pee. We're
time.
Yes, which is funny too because I mean, come on, honestly, Endgame, Infinity War, longer or about the same length. No, actually, Endgame wasn't that 3 hours, like 3 hours and 5 minutes, something like that. So it's longer than this, with no intermission, and I didn't pee. So it's not that my body can't do that. It was just that I had it in the mindset that it was, it was, and so I did have to get up and rush to the bathroom, and so I missed like 3 minutes. But that's okay. I had to choose a moment. But yeah, no, it was good. I think seeing it in 3D is awesome. I'm gonna go back and see it again because my oldest son, he went with me when we saw television. And he was blown away by that. And so he wants to see more Indian
that's
film.
going to be so fun. Nice.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll see it in 3D or not. It'll really just depend on what showing we can get into.
So you get sort of the atmosphere that comes sometimes with a full cinema screen.
Yeah, well, all the showings around us now have been like all sold out.
Nice.
So that's
that's good for the film. I hope it does really well.
Totally.
Yeah. So we definitely get that part 2 and 3.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We need it. That's the thing. We got to have them because as much as I love this film, it is not anywhere near done with the story.
They've just set up a massive universe, the Astroverse. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to move us on because we're at 33 minutes
because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. What is next on your list of the best?
This one, a surprise.
Okay.
I was hopeful, but it was a surprise. And I know that it has not come out for you, so I'm going to be totally spoiler free.
Thank you.
And I may not actually even talk too much about it, but
that's fine.
It's Barbarian.
Yes.
This new horror that, if I think back to it, like what I just said about us, our ratings and what we, is there enjoyment? Does that overshadow the shortcomings? That comes into play in this one.
Okay.
This movie, the premise, which is very vague, is a woman rents an Airbnb. She shows up and somebody's already rented it. So there's this conflict there. Now, she then goes in. They share the time, and then weird things happen. And that's where I'm going to leave the synopsis. If you have not seen the trailer, if you have not watched a review, don't. Just, which is funny for somebody who does reviews. So don't watch my
review. Please don't watch my review.
Yeah, no, and I kept it spoiler free in there also. But honestly, this movie is better served going in blind because it is just a wild ride. There are problems as we get towards the end where characters make weird decisions. Actually, they've made dumb decisions all the way through. Yeah. So fair enough there. Okay. Some logic and some just kind of absurdities take hold. And yet with those, I had a blast with it. Like, I was excited for it. There were tense moments. Like, there was one point where I looked over and my wife is literally watching it through her fingers because it was just like, coming. There is obviousness to the story, which I know I'm listing like all these negatives, and it's still it's a blast. I mean, it is. There are very distinct acts within this film, and like when we get to the second act, there is a abrupt transition, and it's tonally different, and it's visually different, and it's like whoa, that was jarring. But then it makes sense and it works. And within that second act, there is some humor that is like, I found myself laughing more and more as it went along because of, it's not a character telling jokes. It's not a character like,
it's the situation.
It is totally situational, and it is there to break some of the tension, but also to increase the tension.
Oh gosh, like that's clever.
Yeah, it really is because of what's going on. It's you're chuckling to yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, what?
Oh, it's
seriously?
One of those. Okay, I see what you mean now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're rolling your eyes at it.
Oh no!
Yeah,
don't do that.
And all exactly. And so it just sets up this thing. And like I said, the characters make some really dumb decisions. And my son had shared this meme with me just this week where it was talking about just this literature class where somebody had brought up the point when talking about characters is that it's unreasonable to think that a character knows what genre they're in. So our character, who we're watching, doesn't know that she's in a horror movie. Now, So you have to kind of, you know what I mean? So there's some inquisitiveness that may come into play. I still think, though, that the hairs on the back of your neck
decisions because they don't know that, like, the rules are set for a horror movie.
Exactly.
Don't go down to the basement, but I'm going down to the basement because this isn't a horror movie. This is a comedy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I think, though, still, like, if I were there, I mean, if it's real life and it's not a horror movie, even though sometimes life has been a horror movie, you still make dumb decisions. I mean, common sense comes into play and like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Am I going into the attic without a torch at this time of night? No, I'm not.
No. Because Toni Collette's up there doing a dance.
Right. Yeah, thanks for that. Oh.
Anyway, this, I know it doesn't come out in the UK. They don't even have a release date for you guys yet, but it is, it's totally worth watching. When I came out of the theater, my wife and I were talking, and I told her it felt like Malignant to me. Yeah. That not in the execution, but in the feeling that I had, that you have this silly kind of weird movie that almost shouldn't work, and yet it really did. And I had a lot of fun when I saw it. It was unexpected, and it twisted and it turned, and it went, ooh, wow, okay, that was cool. That's kind of the same feeling that you have here as well. So,
okay, yeah, nice. Yeah. I'm looking forward to when we finally get that. Sounds like one that's going to keep me on my toes.
Yes. I hope you're able to still retain like non-spoiler.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to avoid, like, if I see trailers, I'm just going to click off and like, put my fingers in.
Good. All right. What's next on your list?
Yeah, okay. So let me read the synopsis. Dante, Elias, and Jay and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randall after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all. My tagline for this movie would be, have emotion, bring tissues.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. It's kind of like two films, and it kind of does the things that Kevin Smith does best. Both things. So you got ridiculously rude jokes out of left field that a lot of people have always found offensive about Kevin Smith. You have that script, that dialogue, that what made Clerks the original, what made it work is that he had something to say. A lot of people didn't like what he had to say, and that's how you get a cult following. You have that split diversity of people. Some people saying this is absolute trash. I don't get why people like this at all. Same thing, for Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's all that kind of cult status. I loved it mostly because I think you and I can reflect on this. We both worked in video stores, and our lives, some of the conversations are for sure the same conversations that we've gone in some form, from the Star Wars conversations that we had on this podcast today, with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, to just the absolute ridiculousness of human nature. That is always a subject with Jay and Silent Bob. Like the way they react or interact with people is over, way over like how you would do it. Even though one of the characters can't even speak, although he kind of does now, which is weird. Also,
really?
Black, yeah, he does, yeah. Black and White was the original, yes. And the movie that they make, the movie within the movie that they make is black and white, which is interesting because it's a whole, and the story that Kevin Smith has written is definitely 100% based on his life and his friends. So Jason Mewes has overcome drug addiction. Kevin Smith has overcome a heart attack and changed his diet completely. I mean, if you look at him now, he's literally half the man he was then. I'm not being like saying he was fat or huge or anything. He himself has said, I needed to change the ways of my life because I had a heart attack because I wasn't being healthy. And so he's changed all that. And so that is all in this movie. It also...
Let me stop you really quick.
Okay, Karen.
What's the title of this movie?
Clerks III?
Okay.
Sorry. I didn't say that. Yeah, good point. Kevin Smith, Clerk 3, people. Funnily enough, there's number 1 and 2 before that. But yes. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of number 2. I just don't think it's that good. I know some people like it. I love the first one for what it did. It was unique and different. Then it did feel like along the way Kevin Smith did some other films that just weren't that well received. I don't know what was going on with him in his life, but it definitely a reflection of the creative person that you are reflects in your artwork. And I think you could follow his timeline of filmmaking. You could see kind of what was going on in his life. I don't know if that's exactly accurate, but I feel like there's a statement there to be made. With this one, he has something to say and he manages to say it. He's also very brave in this movie. He says a lot, allows what he's saying to bear weight without putting in a joke that's going to ruin it. So there are moments in this that he'll be like, there'll be a monologue from a character that bears their soul, and you as an audience member have to sit with it, and you're like,
ooh.
And then another joke will come and it will lighten the mood, but there are moments which, with the others films and even Clerks II, that they didn't allow you to do that. This one is really brave, and the reason why I say bring tissues is ... I'm not going to tell you. Just seriously, I was so surprised at how brave they were with this film. It's also funny. Like, you sometimes think, has Kevin Smith still got the comedy? It's funny because the reflection on society, once again, is accurate. These characters are all now, I think it's like 30 years old or something, and they're still kind of doing what they used to, but they have tried to make something of themselves. It is a film about trying to make something of yourself if you haven't done anything, but it's also a reflection on life and what has happened and what has come before. Really is just a stark look at what is human nature. He continues to put that in the mold of what this film is. Jason Mewes is great at his character once again. You know, Jay and Silent Bob doing their thing. What's interesting is that this film wasn't going to be made. When 2 had been done, him and Dante, the character Dante, had a massive falling out. And they just didn't speak to each other, and the film was scrapped. Then at a Comic-Con where they were signing stuff for Clerks, the original one, they made up. And because of that, then he had a heart attack. Because of that, he rewrote the script and came up with this one, and obviously they loved it and worked together. And so there's a real reflection of what has happened in life reflected on the screen. It's a meta but it kind of works, and it's probably up there, top 3 of his best work, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, it makes me want to see this, even though I haven't seen number 2, because the restraint maybe to give an emotional moment and not fill it with a joke, or not subvert that emotion and that conflict or that tension with a joke, but then still be able to pull a joke in later to then break some of that tension after it's been appropriately like weighty, I guess. Yeah. Is that accurate?
That's absolutely accurate. There is one drawback, and I think this is going to hurt it, is that you kind of need to have seen 1 and 2.
Oh.
Because of stuff that has happened in the... Because I think some people might go, I haven't seen 2, but could I just go into 3? Yeah. There are key moments, character growth moments of stuff that has happened to them that won't carry the weight of what they're reflecting on in season 3, in number 3. If you're a fan, you've definitely watched them and probably a couple of times, and that won't be an issue for you. But if you are a casual watcher of Kevin Smith's content and you've seen the first one and you enjoyed the dialogue scene in the car and in the store, you know, the moments that will stand out to you, go, I remember that dialogue scene, it's been years. It may be worth just going, I'm going to watch the first one, I'm going to watch the second one, so I can see how much of the weight of this film, because it is weighty, reflects on those 2 and what it says. I do think you can watch the third one and still be really emotionally entangled, but I think it grips you much more if you've seen the others.
Okay. Question, is it, because I saw that it had a very, very limited release in theaters, or it was going to have something like that. So is it like on demand? Is that how people can get?
Yeah, so it's coming to theaters Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, it's having a fairly decent wide release, but it will also be on digital like pretty soon.
Okay.
I will just look that up quickly. What is your favorite Kevin Smith film? Because he's had some spectaculars. Well, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's been quite a while since I've watched a lot of, actually all of them. But I really enjoyed Clerks, the first one.
Yeah.
And I remember really enjoying Chasing Amy. Again, though, I probably haven't seen that in 20 years, so or around there. So would it hold up for me? I don't know. Would I still enjoy it? I don't know. But I remember though, and I couldn't even tell you why specifically, but just the overall feeling was very positive
Okay.
for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love Jersey Girl. I think it's one of my favorite. And Chasing Amy's great. 16th of September. It just seems like it's a cinema release. So.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's good to go.
What's next on yours?
This is a movie that I just saw last night at a special screening, and
Nice.
It's called The Woman King. And
Oh man,
it stars,
I'm so jealous that you've seen this. It doesn't come out till 7th of October here in the UK, guys.
Oh, wait, say that once more. The 7th of
7th
October?
October, yeah.
That sucks.
Anyway, tell me about The Woman King.
So the stars Viola Davis, John Boyega. He's
Nice.
smaller role.
Yep.
Lashana Lynch, Sheila Atom, and then Tuoso Bedu. And
You're doing well with the
sure,
names because I know the first two. I don't know who the others are.
Okay, the last one that I mentioned, she, and I apologize if I destroyed her name. The cast is awesome, but these let me back up. Like so many thoughts in my head. I haven't even done a review for this, so you get this first.
Nice.
But so it's telling the story of the Duomi people, this kingdom, and I'm not sure where specifically in Africa it is, but they have been part of the slave trade.
Right.
So they have been selling their own people or captives from other kingdoms to slavers. And this takes place in the early 1800s. And the Duomi people have the King's Guard. Now they have a male version that are some of the warriors, but the ones that get it all done are their female warriors.
Okay.
And badass. Let me just say that they are rocking it. But from the story standpoint, this shows how they are recognizing that they are hurting themselves and that what they have been doing in the past of selling their own people to slavers, to European slavers, that's wrong. And how they're now trying to fight against that.
Slavery is wrong.
And
what?
Yes, I know. It's surprising, but it's a great point in this story where really you get to see this because these people have profited off of it financially just like the slavers have. I mean, they've been part of the slave trade. And so now you get to see them addressing it. I mean, the movie addresses it head on. Wow. It doesn't dance around it oh, well, no, we kind of did it. No, they're saying we did this and it's wrong. And this is how we're working to fix it. This is why we think we should fix it. This is what we're going to do.
Okay.
It is, it's an action movie, but it's so much more than an action movie. I mean, it starts off with a great action scene that's pretty brutal. Has some quick cuts in that first one where it's it's kind of hard to see some of what's going on, and it's also night. It doesn't detract from the excitement that you feel from it, but some of the moves I would have liked to have seen more in context.
Can't be as bad as Transformers at night.
Oh, no. This was, you could still see what's going on. It's brutal.
Right. Okay.
And then, especially Lashana Lynch does something and you're like, holy crap, that's, ooh, okay. But then after that initial action sequence, the movie takes a big step back and it now introduces us into the kingdom, into the warriors, into their, how they become warriors, what it means to be a warrior, some of the internal politics with the king and, his council and all that. It's
very interesting dynamic because growing up in South Africa, that's not the history I learned. It was generally, Zulu chief dudes with 6 or 7 different wives, one for each day of the week and the reason why he had those wives was because one was for cooking, one was for preparing meals, and it was the guys, like the Maasai warriors, they went out and did the hunting, the Khoi or the San, they were the hunter-gatherers. So a different part of Africa I didn't know about. Very interesting. And it's based on a true story as well.
Based on a true story. And so Viola Davis is the general of these female warriors, and wow. Okay, so she has gotten really fit for this role.
Yeah,
she is.
I've seen some of that imagery.
Yeah, and it's not like she gets all super skinny or super buff. She looks like a warrior. I mean,
looks like she's been fighting all her life rather than I've been in the gym all my life.
Totally. Yes. A completely different body style with that. And she's powerful. And I love, we have a fierceness to her and just this power because she is a general and she leads this group of warriors. I mean, she has to have an air of authority, right?
Yeah.
And this hard edge to her. And I love that we also the story balances this with some softer moments with her. That she doesn't lose humanity, and she's not. There's moments where you're like, oh my gosh, you are a person.
So she's relatable.
Totally, yeah. I mean, from a human standpoint.
Yeah.
Like I can't relate to her as being a warrior, but I can as somebody who has to put up. Like,
you're not a Zulu female warrior. What?
Yeah. So so she has to have that persona here, but then also behind closed doors between just like her closest confidants, there's other portions to it.
Nice.
So Viola Davis is phenomenal in this. I mean, she is spectacular. Holy crap, though. Lashana Lynch, Sheila Atom together, separately, they are whoa. And Lashana Lynch, she steals it. Like, steals the movie. Like, I root for her every single time I am on there. Because just like...
Oh, is she the new Bond? Or was the new Bond?
Yes. Yes.
That's where I know her from.
And she's in Jurassic World.
Right. Oh, yes. She was great in that.
The pilot. Yeah, no, she's phenomenal. Yeah. And she is spectacular in this. I mean, I loved watching her. I love what she brings to the character because, again, fierce warrior, like just powerful. I mean, she'd wipe the floor with me every way, you know.
Yeah.
Sheila Atom also same thing. They even fight together as a duo at some points, and you're like, ooh, that's even more awesome.
I just realized where I noted her from, the Underground Railroad. And she played Mabel, and she was incredible in that.
She's I like her a lot. She's
I'm even more
really
excited
good
to watch this now.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then Tuoso Mbedu, who plays Nawi, or what she's nicknamed is Tsitsi.
Nice.
She's fly. She's a little annoying.
Tsitsi fly.
It's so,
Tsitsi fly. Yeah.
It's so good. But she also has heart. And it follows, she becomes kind of the main character or the focus of it, even though all of this other is going around, and it's not to detract from Viola Davis or anything else. I mean, it all complements together. So you have a very emotional story. There is some predictability to it. And my son and I, he went with me last night to watch it. And there's a moment where something is hinted at in the story. And I feel that it's pretty obvious at what it's hinting at.
Right.
But later on, they concretely spell it out.
Right.
And as this is happening in my head, I was going, did we really need that?
A bit of spoon feeding.
Did we need it to be? Yeah. Did we need it to be spoon fed? Because, and then my thought process goes, well, if we take that out, if we don't have that, what does that do to some of the other character arcs or the character? Like, how do you change that or whatever?
Right.
But then, as I was talking with my son, we were having this conversation about, you know what? It's in certain instances sometimes spoon feeding or giving like concrete evidence to what was supposed is better because it doesn't then make the audience get caught up in a like they don't get distracted over here by what they're thinking about because you need everybody to understand it to then move on, and so that you can get the more reason for the story. Like, this is important and it's key to certain motivations, but if I get everybody distracted over here, they miss then the larger arc that happens afterwards.
Wow.
So it ended up like I was like, no, okay.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't, I don't know how I would have changed it. I think some of the obviousness didn't need to be there. But on the other side of that, if it helps people progress through the story so that we get to the actual part of it that matters even more,
yeah,
fair enough. The final thing I'll say on this, the action is spectacular. I mean, you have like Braveheart, Game of Thrones battle moments.
Nice.
Okay. And it's not that's not the
focus.
That's not the focus of the movie.
Yeah.
But when it happens, it's huge, and there are emotional moments within there that are like gut punch. Like you are, I mean, we feel peril and danger for our characters. And I like that. I like that that we've become invested. Yeah. So, top marks for me. I mean, I think this is, even though there are some little issues here or there, it far, the feeling, the emotion, everything far outshadows it. There's also a mid-credit scene, which, damn.
It's a mid-credit scene.
Yeah, like, it's before, so you have like the title credits of the actors and everything, and before the rolling credits, the crawl starts.
Right.
We get another scene, and it's
like at the end of the movie, or the beginning? Of the
yes.
Movie? Wow.
No, at the end.
At the end. So is that suggesting there could be another one?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's just
I didn't think it was that type of film. Yeah.
No, correct. Yeah, no. It's not a cliffhanger. It's not a Thanos will return type of thing. It's not any of that. It's giving an emotional moment, and then also using being able to give a statement within it, very subtly, but like, oh, okay, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now we get to the section where Ruben feels disappointed. We're going to say, like, in the best thing we watched.
Oh, no.
But Ruben is disappointed. There were a couple of titles coming this week that I was really excited to watch. And I was just disappointed. So Ruben is disappointed section. Let's go. The End of the Road with Queen Latifah.
Oh, no.
This film started off as a good family drama, and then they go on the road thing, and there's this there's this climatic event where the family member does something wrong that ends them up in a situation they shouldn't need to. First of all, it's totally unbelievable. You don't believe that the characters would keep making those decisions. Also, for a thriller, it's entirely boring. It's just dull.
Wait, it's a thriller?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's meant to be some sort of action thriller thing. It's dull. So I skipped over and went over to Disney and thought, you know what, I'm going to give Pinocchio a go. Because it's the new Disney live action movie. It's got Tom Hanks, Gordon Joseph Levitt. Yeah. The best thing I can say about that movie is that the CGI, they've gotten so good. Like the cat in this, you still totally know it's CGI cat, but like the way the fur moves, the facial expressions, I was just like, dude, you guys are good. Like, well done. It's so boring. It's so dull. Like, I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm done with this. So then, moving on, we went last night. We watched a pretty old film that came out in 2003. And Gus and I were talking about how funny it is that the 2000 films are now our 80s films, because that's how we think of it. Because that's the people just this generation's, their 80s films is the 2000s. And I thought, yeah, okay. So this is one film that I think a lot of people either haven't seen or they didn't like, but it's in the vein of those destroying Earth movies.
Oh,
right. And I did want to ask you, Chris, how many times in films have you seen the Golden Gate Bridge being destroyed?
I think every time there's just like the Empire State Building,
right,
or like the White House or the Eiffel Tower,
the Big Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben. Yeah.
Okay, so Golden Gate Bridge gets destroyed in this movie. Just
okay, fair enough.
The only way to save Earth from catastrophe is to drill down to the core and set it spinning again. This cast has Aaron Eckhart, Hilary Swank, Delroy Lindo, Bruce Greenwood. There's a number of cast members in here that I just love. And the dialogue is really fun. And surprisingly, some of the CG still holds up. I was like, but this is so old. There is bits where I was just like, yeah, I can see what you were doing there. Have you seen this film, Chris?
Which is it?
The Core.
I'm trying to think. The Core. No, I haven't.
Huh.
Not that I know of. Not that I remember.
Yeah,
no.
I said it's one of those that were kind of passed by because some critics, the snooty ones, were like, this isn't artsy. But this is like in the realm of Armageddon, Dante's Peak, Volcano, all of those. It's actually a lot of fun and doesn't outstay its welcome. Now, the thing that ruined it for me, because this is in the segment of Ruben is disappointed, is the whole film had a bit of the science was fantasy science, but you believed it because of the rules they established, the mechanics, the way they went about it, the rules they set up within themselves, the machine. They have a metal called unobtainium. Like they said all the stuff like how do you drill into the earth and survive and all of that.
But isn't that what it's called in Avatar? What's the metal that they because it's something similar to that.
Probably something
also,
similar.
which made me laugh because it's like really that's what you came up with.
Yeah. Okay, so unobtainium. The ship has like drills on each section, so it's drilling it, and also has these weird lasers at the front that use radio wave lasers to drill. All the science behind it. They give us a whole bit of science beforehand of stuff like how it's going to happen. Okay. But then at the end, there's a couple of characters that are you want to survive.
Yeah.
But one of the characters opens a nuclear bomb and exposes the fuel rods. And you see there's like a Geiger counter in the corner that just goes like, and so if you've watched Chernobyl, you know when you're exposed to high levels of radiation, you've got maybe a day to live, like that high level. And so can I just say that these two characters that are exposed to each other live and they make no mention of no problems. Hollywood ending. So they establish the thing that's happened with their science, and then they go, it's all cool because they're the heroes. And I'm like, what the crap, man? How did I just didn't see it like the first few times. This time it was just like blaringly obvious. It's like, wow, okay. Anyway, so I guess I should move on to the best thing we watch, right?
So are you done with your disappointment?
Yeah, I'm done with my disappointments. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to mention that crap.
This segment brought to you by Sour Patch Kids.
Yes, exactly. Director Eskil Vogt. Chris.
Okay. Yes.
No. Stop recommending me films. This film was depressing. It was very interesting. It had a very reminiscent theme of that one film where the kids find a hole and they get superpowers. Chronicle.
Yes.
Except it's way darker. And
totally.
The repercussions of what's happened in this film at the end just leaves you thinking. It's called The Innocents. It came out in 2021. I finally switched it on the recommendation of Chris. I should give people a warning again. If you're going to go into watching this film, there's a bit of cat brutality that you will want to pass. In fact, Kirsten, my wife who watched it with me, said, why are we watching this? I don't want to. It will make you feel like if you have a soul and any sort of emotion whatsoever, even if it's a tiny little bit, you're going to hate that bit. And I know a lot of people is immediately, no, I'm out. And I get it. I get it.
Yep. Totally.
For this part, it's particularly brutal as well.
Yeah.
Having said that, this was excellently done because it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And you're like, holy crap, these kids need to be put down. Particularly one. And I know saying that sounds harsh, but when you watch the film, you understand. During the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal their dark and mysterious powers when the adults aren't looking. In the original and gripping supernatural thriller, playtime. What are they saying here? Playtime takes a dangerous turn. Very
Yes,
interesting premise. It did feel like they were setting up more to come. And like they left you to kind of figure out a lot of stuff, which I think is fine. Like, as to establishing, was this always here? Is it just the location as to why they're being affected? Is it because of the kids? Are they being experimented on? There's a whole bunch of things as to why. But at the end of the day, it was happening, and these kids experience what it's like to have powers. And if one of them is abused and is dark in his soul, what does that reflect? What does that look like? Very, very well filmed, indie kind of superhero evil film. Different.
The brutality in it is,
seriously,
and I think it's made even more impactful and brutal because we're watching young kids do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not something I've seen them go into before.
No. And this was recommended to me by somebody, and I saw it on demand. And now, excuse me, it's available on Shudder, which is outstanding. So if you have that service, and you want to be disturbed, this is yeah. So nice. Ruben's never going to listen to my recommendations again, and his wife certainly is not. Did Chris recommend this? Yes. No, we're not watching it.
I've still got a bunch of others that I need to talk about. So what's next on your list?
Okay. I saw this French movie this week called No Limit, and it's based on a true story. It's on Netflix. It's about French no limit, not French. It is French, but it's about no limit diving, which basically these people have to, you ride down on this little rail type of thing without any type of oxygen. You just, yes.
Have you seen The Big Blue?
No.
Okay.
And so you have to hold your breath. They go down. You get down to the bottom, wherever that depth is. Especially if you're trying to break a record, it's deeper and deeper. And they have safety divers every 40 feet with oxygen tanks. But the premise of this is because you have sucked in air at the surface and gone all the way down. Your lungs have then become compressed.
Yeah.
But you still have the same amount of oxygen and air in your lungs. It's just been compressed. So if something happens at the bottom, you cannot be given oxygen because it will explode your lungs. Because even though I had my lung capacity was like this, it's now like this, and you can't shove more air in there because first off, you're gonna blow it up there. But as it gets up, you're gonna even have more. And anyway,
the bends.
They have to get well, and that's the other thing, that the divers can't go up with you because they have had their lungs have been fully expanded the whole way down because they're getting oxygen constantly in. So they have to go up in levels. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
When you get to the bottom, you have to give an okay symbol to the diver at the bottom. When you get all the way up to the top, you have to be able to give an okay sign, and you have to say okay or I'm okay.
Right.
And then if you do that, then you're okay. And that you can, your dive has been scored and it counts. There's way much more sex than, like, I was kind of shocked at it. Not that it's a negative
like
or a positive.
A sort of erotic thriller. I think that's the kind
it
of...
became a steamy romance type of thing, which did it need that? No, not really, especially because I think the movie is, it's closer to 2 hours. So it didn't really need that. Because we get the passion of these characters anyway. The thing about this is, like, I didn't know, it says at the beginning it's inspired by true events or based on true events. At the end of the movie, they make it very clear to say what you just saw was fictional and was not, like, there was not ties to any person because and I didn't know anything about the real life story.
Yeah.
But there is a moment as we get towards the end where you see some characters do some things and then something happens. And I'm like, I have a feeling about this. And I know I'm being vague, but that's just to avoid the spoilers. But somebody in my comments had said, it sounds very much like this real life thing where this happens and this is kind of the thing. And I'm like, oh, Wow. So that's exactly what the movie is. So it's very funny that they say it's inspired by true events, and then to say we weren't pointing the finger at anybody. We weren't saying that this character is this real life person. You totally were. That's all that was. So,
so
yes,
there is a film called Le Grand Bleu, called The Big Blue. Mm-hmm. The rivalry between Enzo and Jacques, two childhood friends and now world-renowned freedivers, become a beautiful and perilous journey into oneself and the unknown. Directed by Luc Besson,
wow.
one of the best directors. As Jean Reno is one of the main actors.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's an incredible, incredible film. One of my all-time favorites, especially from Luc Besson. If you want to see a film that's, I think, based on a true story, again, it's free diving. It will put you off free diving.
This too.
Yeah, it's all about like that lung capacity, building that up, and how far you're going to push yourself, because it becomes so dangerous. There's only a few people in the world that can actually free dive properly, which immediately got me thinking about this film, like the fact that they've tried to add in that romantic, erotic edge to it is weird. Because there's enough of a thriller story there. The story itself, just freebending, is scary. And if you showcase that in the right way, just the ocean itself, and then the tightness in your chest while you're watching, because, you're like, I just want one bit of air. Just give me a bit. And they've been under for so long. They can only get so much help. Like if you get in trouble, even with the tanks, you get in trouble down there, you lose the line. It's pitch black. You're dead. I mean, that's it.
Yeah,
it's a very, very real danger that you put yourself in.
Yeah, I think not the level of sex that we get, but I do think some of it, at least, you need to feel the emotional connection that these two have, the passion that the two main characters feel, because that's one of the themes within this. It's passion and obsession.
Okay.
And so it does tie in, and you need to feel some of these character arcs and moments between them, and they have to be believable, even though, let me just say, that the relationship that we get is very abruptly started. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm not sure I buy that. It feels a little rushed.
Yeah.
Whatever. Going to go with it, and then we'll just continue on from there. So,
nice.
I'm going to have to check out The Big Blue.
Yeah, it's so good. It's very, very good. So Netflix dropped a bunch of South Korean content this week, and two out of the three that I watched were excellent. The third one, Once Upon a Time, in a Small Town. Once Upon a Time, in a Small Town. Once Upon a Time, a Small Town? Let me get this right so people check it out. Once Upon a Time, a Small Town.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not good.
Okay.
Just pass on that. Just don't.
Okay.
You will save yourself some time. It's one of those that you kind of go in and but also because of the way they tackle animal cruelty, it's very lighthearted and comedic. I think might be something to do with the culture. I don't know, but I didn't like that bit, so that turned me off straight away. However, there were two others.
Okay.
One is episodic, so they do episode by episode release.
Okay.
And I thought it was really, really good. It's called Little Woman.
Woman or women?
Woman.
Okay.
WOMAN.
Okay.
And it's not based on the Little Woman book. It's not like that. It's basically taking a look at three women who are sisters. Their mother is a little scandalous person and takes their money, and then they have to survive. But there's this weird mystery that comes out of nowhere that you don't expect to be a part of it. So where they're trying to survive in the culture, it's all about class. They're trying to make it look like they live or they are part of or can be a part of a higher class. So, like make it till you fake it till you break it, or make it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yes. I was just clarifying for myself, not for you.
No, I'm joking.
You said it perfectly clear.
Yes, exactly. Three sisters with a close bond who grew up in poverty. It is the exciting story of the sisters as they get embroiled in a major incident and face off against the wealthiest family. The wealthiest family in the nation. So one's a lawyer, one is... They're trying to get their youngest sister the life that they never had, but she's kind of rebelling against them. So far, from what I've seen, I'm all in. The scripting, the dialogue, the filmmaking. Sometimes you can go into a South Korean series because there's so many on Netflix, and you're like, "Yep, this is not going to be good." And then other times you go in, first few minutes, you're like, "Yep, I'm good." And this was one of those. However, the one, because I'm rushing a little bit because we got so much, but the one I actually want to talk about is Narco-Saints. Did you get a chance to watch this, Chris?
I haven't got to see this yet. No.
My goodness. Please put this on your watch list. Everybody put this on your watch list. Some of the best scripting and dialogue I've seen from a South Korean series in a long time. Acting is top notch. Someone was telling me about like the makers and the creators of this series, and they're like all really well known, not in my circles, but in their circles. That was just like very well put together. It's only 6 episodes. It's an hour long.
Okay.
It's one of those stories. Did you see that film with Tom Cruise where he's this swindler? He's in a plane and he's like
yeah.
He swindles people, and it's the story. It starts off with we're going, this is a story you're not going to believe is true, but you just kind of have to experience. They start the same way in this. This is a story that you're not going to believe is true, but you need to watch it to experience it to kind of have any understanding of what this character went through. The best thing about this story and the fact that it's so unbelievable is that it's just a working hard dad. It starts off as a working hard kid, and he experiences losing his family, and he was under the expression or it was under the belief that if you worked really hard in your life, you will get by in life. Yeah, life will find a way, and as long as you pay your dues in life. The thing is, the truth of that was his parents worked themselves to death in some way or another, and so then he ends up looking after the kids, and suddenly he's no longer a kid. He's not allowed to be. He just has to make ends meet. And he also, being in the culture he has at the time that this is set, it's very hard for him to come above the normal status, especially if you're in a poverty status. And so he meets up with a friend that takes him to another part of the world where they're trying to resell skates, as in the skate that looks like a mini eel rather than ice skates or skates. Like, there's like a mini manta and so where he lives, skates are very well sought after, and not a lot of people can get them. And it's this kind of he's going to go in the shipping routes and stuff. So he's got a wife, he's got some kids that he needs to look after. He's tired. He doesn't want to work himself to death. He wants something different for his family. And then he gets swindled by a preacher that you think is on his side, who is actually the biggest the manipulator. The preacher it's a front, and he has a whole organization behind him. Even the mafia guys or the gangs don't mess with him. He's that character. And so he gets sent to jail, and he's going to spend a bunch of time in jail. But CID or SID come and make him a deal. We need to take this guy down. If you help us, we will get you clear of these charges, and we will, help your family, sort of thing. And so it's an escalation of where this working class everyday dad finds himself in the midst of a cult led by this guy that's a manipulator. It's such a cult that the people that are on his staff are trained to fight, but every day they wake up and given literally the Kool-Aid as blue juice with cocaine in it, right? So he gets them hooked on drugs from a young age, from slave labor, right up to so they literally are drinking the Kool-Aid. And every circumstance, this dad finds himself deeper, making decisions that he doesn't really want to make, really kind of gruesome in some parts, just thriller from one episode to the next, and ridiculously good dialogue, like top-notch scripting. I was riveted, like, from beginning to the end. It's the sort of thing when your wife walks past, she goes, "What's this?" And then she's there for 2 episodes. Like, damn it, I need to go and do something else. That's gripping.
Nice.
It's very, very good. Yeah.
Is this a limited series or
limited
is it
series.
like season?
Yeah, limited series, 1 story. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, even better. Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
What else is on your list? I've spoken for a long time, so please use some words, Chris.
No, okay. Cobra Kai.
Yay.
I had a lot of fun with that this season 5. I like I've liked the kids' story, but I really like that this went back to the adults more and focused more on the adult angle of this. For me, season 4 I did not like season 4 as much.
Okay.
I was getting tired of the same old, like, just circular situations that they were finding themselves in. And this one felt a little different from that. It felt like we were actually, I mean, you still have some decisions that are coming back, but it felt more fresh, I think. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect
It's never
season.
been a perfect series.
No. Some things are rushed in it. Some, we bounce from storyline to storyline kind of sometimes quickly. But William Zabka, Johnny Lawrence.
I think he steals this season. I think he's the best thing. Him and Chosen.
Yes. And the thing that I love about Johnny in this season is that we're finally seeing, I mean, we've seen like attempts at growth and he's made little bits of growth here and there, but he makes big.
Yeah, there's a realization because of something that happens.
Yeah.
That he doesn't want to repeat mistakes of the past. And I think that was a really good moment, kind of just showing, So I was worried that they were going to change his character because of this thing that's happening. And like even the aesthetics of his room, that like he's changing all this stuff. Like, does that mean now that he's not going to be Johnny? But absolutely not. He's still making the same stupid mistakes, but he has learned. He has grown.
Yeah, that's one of the best montage scenes is he gets a side gig where he becomes an Uber driver and like a DoorDash kind of guy, and just the fact that he is Johnny in this environment, it made me laugh so much. And just I like though that what he does, what his transformation brings to some of the other characters as well, and how he influences, and how we get to see then growth in some of the other characters where things have been resolved or they're being worked through. This season had a much more positive feeling to it, where
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like there are dramatic issues that are coming into play. It's not like everything is happy-go-lucky, but I felt like this was more of a positive trajectory going up, where things are, people are responding to things in a more mature manner, that they have learned, that they're growing, and now we're seeing just people come together, which makes for a happier watching experience too. I mean, I don't mind the drama, and I think sometimes you need some of that to help balance it out, so that it's not just all smiles the entire time and you don't feel any type of conflict. But yeah, I don't know.
I want to talk spoilers. I did like it, but I want to talk spoilers.
Yeah, let's talk spoilers.
Let's talk spoilers. We've given you the warning. If you're a huge fan, you've probably watched it by now, by the time this has come out. So we will do tags as always. But let's get into it. Okay, so I can finally talk about the bit that really annoyed me, and it was one of my most negative moments for the adults. As much as it concentrated on the adults, I thought it was more blaringly obvious that their martial arts was not up to scratch compared to the kids. So like they were the telegraphing the kicks and not really connecting with a punch, all that was blaringly obvious, especially unfortunately with Daniel's-son. I think he's the weakest out of 3. He just doesn't look like he knows how to fight, which is I guess maybe true, because out of all of them, he wasn't the professional fighter, even in The Karate Kid. He might have been a dancer or something. So, which is fine. I just want them to replace like those bigger choreographed moments. I think they need to start replacing with stunt guys. And the way they do that, like cut it in the back, doing like a nice kind of spinny flip kick or something that makes us go, yeah, that was cool. Because I think the kids choreographed, they were some of the main, that fight sequence that Johnny orchestrated between Miguel and Robbie was great, was really intense, was harsh. And I believe they were punching, they were going to kick the crap out of each other. But isn't that the way of boys though? Kick the crap out of each other, and now we've sorted our issues out. I definitely had that a few times in my life. I don't know if you've ever had that.
To some degree, yeah.
To some degree,
but no, but that's, I mean, and that's where that harkens back to what should have happened even in the first Karate Kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I liked the way it started. There was this beginning bit where we see Miguel going to find his father. Right, and I thought that was really interesting. We're taking our characters on a new route. We're getting Johnny and his son. They finally getting together. Cool, that's awesome. I like their whole road trip, and it shows them outside of culture, like getting played and messed up a bit. And that weird storyline with his father went nowhere. Like they're establishing this guy, and then they just leave him. They're like. All I can think is he's going to come back because they've established that he's a really bad dude. He didn't really figure out that was his son, but he's not stupid either. So I feel like he's going to figure it out, and that might come back, be a storyline in season 6, which could be a nice tie-in for the World Tournament. But Johnny fighting the MCU guy, just not a chance. I'm sorry. Basic karate with UFC. What is UFC? It just work that out. It's the mixed martial art fighting. I was like, jog on, come on.
What I always think too, Jon Favreau's character in Friends. Do I look like the Ultimate Fighting Champion? It's just like, no, it was ridiculous.
It was this is stupid. Anyway, so we have Silver being carted off into jail, and they basically say in a number of dialogue lines that he might be in jail for a long time because there's many offenses that we're going to chuck on him. Also, bear in mind, though, that Silver has a litany of lawyers and a big finance. I don't think it's without the realm of possibility that he could not come back for season 6. Except Kreese is out with a great escape. That he'd been planning the whole way through, which is great. We all saw it coming. Now, he is on the run from the police, but he did say that Johnny is his best student. And the whole season 5 for the bad guys was about legacy, right? What are they leaving behind? Silver and Kreese. So I think Kreese is going to come back to the World Tournament, whether it's through a surrogate or someone else, and pick up Cobra Kai. Because even though the Cobra Kaians, the students saw that Silver was bad, they don't necessarily like Eagle Fang or Miyagi-Do. The students don't gel together. They're not friends. So I still think we're not going to come back to, they're all going to be friends and they're going to join one group. I don't think that's a thing. I think that both season 6 will be concentrating on the World Tournament, and them two it's going to come to a head fighting other. That is what I'm most looking forward to. And I really hope the other students that they fight are damn good and maybe even beat the crap out of both sides, and them having to come together then to form one dojo under that banner. And I think they should kind of wrap it up. I don't know that they should be stringing it out for many more seasons. 6 or 7 max to wrap up. But I do have a theory that's quite exciting. But tell me your thoughts on 6. Well, spoilers.
5, spoilers. Let's see. I was a little surprised by the Kreese storyline, especially at the end. Yeah. Because at first I really did. I was like, oh wow.
Did they just kill him off?
That was my thought. I was like, no, seriously? Did they really do that?
You know, the doctor going tasting the blood.
What? Come on, dude.
What doctor does that?
No doctor does that ever. But it was cool that way. The thing I want from this next season is I like the character of Kenny Payne. The kid who was, bullied and then became the bullier or bully.
Yeah, he's actually got a decent storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. I want his direction to be better.
Agreed.
He just was like the whole time, you know.
Yeah,
and
he
it's
was
like,
very.
Yeah, and I can get the anger. I mean, that, you know what I mean? If you've been bullied and then your life circumstances, I mean, it doesn't make you a happy person. I understand that. And I'm not looking for him to just all of a sudden be happy, cheery. But I want the growth arc from him, I think now. I want the directors to pull something else out of him other than him just kind of hunched over pouting the entire time.
Right.
You know, I had said that he looks like he's got a coat hanger shoved in his shirt, you know, across his shoulders there, because that's just how he never moves. And we know he's fast.
Yeah,
we know he's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has what it takes to be the champion, but to be that champion also, we have to want him to be the champion.
Yeah. No, I don't like him. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and yeah. So
also,
so there's
he can
that.
punch you hard in the solar plexus. Don't let him do that.
Yeah. I want him to. Yeah, there's so much that the direction from that, and then the writing to give him a redemption arc within this, so that he becomes somebody that we absolutely root for, and he becomes a powerhouse. Because I think,
what did you think of now probably one of our favorite actors of all time since Blackbird? What did you think of his storyline in this?
Dude, he got a hero moment.
He did,
right?
didn't he? It was great.
And him as the dungeon master.
Oh my goodness!
Admitting to things, with you know what I mean, telling that story,
just actually finding a way. You could tell he wanted to be the good guy the whole time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that he's a lonely person, and he wants to fit in, and he wants to have friends, and so that makes him do bad decisions.
Yep.
Because he does what he thinks is going to make him popular or accepted, and the emotion though that he has in that. I mean, and then when he shows up with Johnny's car,
I got
you
this.
know, it was ridiculous, and it was awesome. And I mean, the actresses in the back, like being slammed around, and their whole look of like, I mean, the whole thing was like very convincing, because just like, what the crap is going on here? And then him running up, kind of crawling up the stairs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was so weird, but great. Like totally his character. Or wearing dark glasses while driving, and Johnny like, or Daniel saying like, "Shouldn't you take those off?" It's like, no, where we're going, we don't need roads.
It was a lot of fun. I had I'm curious. The ending felt a little almost anticlimactic.
It felt like they could have done another episode.
Yeah, like, because you have, like, I loved the fighting. I loved that whole, you know, between, I mean, just the melee that's happening between everybody within there. And you have
always
the pressure
between everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the pressure then of Hawk and Dimitri trying to get the thing uploaded. And then, it's on the tablet and it's uploading, but now they have to protect the tablet and everything. That was
a good moment as well, where you saw them using what Chosen had taught them. I thought that was great.
Yes, and I was shocked by the violence. Actually,
yeah, it was a lot more brutal. Yeah, Chosen especially that fight scene was damn.
Well, and one of the henchmen losing some of the fingers there too, and I was like, because I don't think we've seen like blood or anything like that, other than maybe like a little bit of a bloody nose or something.
Yeah, no, this was definitely more blood. Yeah, and a lot more swearing as well. I think they definitely went more adult.
That's true. Yeah, it was. There was there were F-bombs that they dropped like consistently.
Yeah.
So
more so than I was like, oh, okay, we do this now. Fair enough. It is a 15. We can do that. Should I tell you my theory? Yes. Okay. So because they've been bringing back all the characters from the previous movies, like in this one, we had a really one of the main characters that came back from the furniture store. Mike Barnes. I thought it was pretty funny, and I know a lot of fans are upset about it. Like he comes in finally to get his redemption moment, and just gets almost immediately knocked out, and then helps Johnny at the end and go, And Johnny was like, I did most of that. I was like, yeah, I know. Anyway, Mike Barnes was in it. And so we've had a litany of other characters that have cropped up in the past 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Netflix next week are putting the next Karate Kid on their platform, right?
Oh.
Now with season 6, this has been one character that people have asked, surprisingly, because it wasn't ever that well received. So the next Karate Kid, and it's actually a fairly... I would say she's a fairly well-respected actress.
Hilary Swank, right?
Yeah. Now I'm wondering, and I think it could be because she does do some TV, and she hasn't done like huge films at the moment. She might be up for grabs to at least have a character or like a moment cameo. Mm-hmm. I was one person that didn't mind the next Karate Kid. Like I wasn't like so attached to it that people like, yeah, that was rubbish. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as terrible as number 3. It was that kind of thing. So I think they're going to draw her into the world tournament as maybe a help, because we've got so many senseis that could be bad, that could be drawn in again for the world tournament with Cobra Kai. If Silver comes back and Kreese comes back and all those others from overseas come back, they were sorely outnumbered as to their help. Having her come back as a sensei to teach them something else, because she was tutored by Miyagi as well, if I remember correctly. So she has that kind of connection. I think that could be a thing.
I could totally buy that. I think that would be great. And you figure they got Elizabeth Shue to come back for a cameo there. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Even if Hilary Swank isn't featured like as a main player, just to have.
She's done a few Netflix films as well. Like, it's not like they don't have a connection with her at all. So I think it could be really fun to see her do that. Anywho, do you have anything else?
I have one very briefly, and this is gonna surprise you. Okay, cool. And it rightfully so. But it was my daughter-in-law's birthday this week, and as is the custom in our house, when it is your birthday, you get to choose birthday dinner. You get to choose the movie that we watch, if that's what we're going to do, or if we don't watch a movie, where we go, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So she wanted to watch a movie, and it was a movie that I have never seen. And also because she has all sisters. So she grew up in a house of girls.
Fair enough.
We have no daughters other than her now. So ours is a house of boys. So this was not a movie that we gravitated towards, that the boys wanted to see. Tinkerbell. The animated movie.
Okay.
It's Mae Whitman is as
Is this
Tinkerbell.
live action? Oh, the animated. Okay.
No, it's animation. It's really the backstory of who Tinkerbell is. I had a lot of fun with this. It was cute. It was funny. It was sweet. And it was an easy, casual watch, And so not something I would have put on by myself, that I would have chosen, but because it was her birthday, we watched it. And you having all boys too, this is probably not something that you've seen either, right? Or have you seen it?
I don't know. I recognize it, but there are so many Tinkerbell movies.
Yeah, there's
there's
like 5 or 6 of them.
But the voice cast, if I'm correct, is pretty impressive.
It is. Yeah, there are quite a few actors in this that are just like, whoa, wow, that's outstanding. So this is not like drop everything to watch, but you know what? If you need something cute, or if you have, even if you have younger kids, this is it. It's just a lot of fun. It was cool and surprising, I think, which was nice. And while it's not really Peter Pan-ish, there are tiny little references here and there that are sprinkled throughout, and so that was kind of cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yep.
The Imperfects. Did you get a chance to watch this?
I started this.
Okay. This continues to baffle me.
Okay.
On the whole Netflix side of things, because as you know, it wasn't on the Netflix media site. They mentioned it briefly on Geeked Week, and they had a teaser trailer and a trailer, but no marketing for it whatsoever.
Nothing.
According to some of the comments, it's not even popped up on like the main feature on drop day, which was weird. That was a Thursday. It's 10 episodes of a I was gonna say it's hero, but it's not. It's sort of tongue-in-cheek monster verse. That's the best way to describe it. You have a banshee, you have a chupacabra, you have a succubus. They named themselves this, and you have a crazy scientist who experimented on a bunch of kids because of something that's in their DNA, supposedly trying to fix them. So like you're an X-Man and you're going to Professor Xavier's school, except for Professor Xavier is a crazy scientist that experiments on you, gets you addicted to drugs that keeps your powers at bay, and then jogs on, or something happens to him, which I'm not going to say, and then once you stop taking tablets, your powers start manifesting. In this case, they're not necessarily powers, but more messes up your life completely, and they want to get fixed. There are other characters with powers manifesting now because of this that are very interesting. And that's what I liked most about it, I think, was finding out what else we were going to be, like how are they going to take this? Because it's very different to like X-Men or Hero series. It concentrates on the horror, very gory. Oh my gosh, they don't skimp on the gore, which I was very happy with. The banter and the bickering is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I think it works really well for the type of tone and temper that they're going for. I think the reason we have a mixed core group of people, one that absolutely love it and one season 2 and 3, and others that like, what is this? Is that character, the scientist, who is so quirky and over the top as crazy scientist guy, that they thought it was like slapstick comedy and thought it's like, I literally have a bunch of comments of people, this is the worst acting ever. Like, I don't like this at all. I'm like, fair enough. But I understood what they were going for right at the beginning. I knew what this was. And I'm like, yeah, I'm locked in. I'm enjoying this.
I didn't get the lead scientist's voice. Like it was, he felt like he was doing some kind of caricature or something like that. And I couldn't tell. Tell if that was like a character or if that's how he really, it was like,
no, that's his character. Like the character isn't putting on a voice. That is how crazy and eccentric he is. Yeah.
Okay. I liked the wit, the banter back and forth. I thought that was good. I think for me, I was just having a hard time connecting with it. And I only, out of fairness, I only watched the first episode.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
but I was struggling. And I don't know if that was because it just,
give yourself another episode. If you're not locked into episode 2, then probably not your cup of tea. But the first 3 made me go, yeah, I'm in, because they do some things to shake it up. They start giving you an arc of what's actually going on in the wider. What are they going to be doing for the rest of the episodes, basically?
Okay.
And then they solidify what they're willing to do in the series, making it different and stand out. Our characters are going to be this. They're not particularly heroes, but they're not anti-heroes. They're just these people that have woken up with these things happening to them, and now they've got to experience it together. Now, are we going to try and make them become a team? Probably, but they don't know each other. They don't trust each other. Who are they to each other? And yet you start seeing some nice aspects of their humanity stick out of their monster. I particularly like the guy who's a chupacabra, because his whole story now is kind of like the Hulk's. He really doesn't want his monster. He wants to get rid of his monster. He is fighting that all the time.
Horrified by what he wakes up to.
Yeah. There's a really great moment with his girlfriend who's into beasts, and she's more into his beast than she is with him.
Oh, jeez.
It is like, we're going to talk about this when we get... But they really show, like, the one girl, her power is... sound, and so she's she can use her voice, but also she hears everything, so you see the pain of having that sort of sound. The succubus, imagine everybody that just around you wants to like just be with you, but in the worst way. Anything you say by mistake they will do because they love you so much. It's like, oh, just go and kill yourself, like, F off, and you want to go to that, and then they jump off a building, and then they do it. I think they explore that really well as what do I do with my life now, because I can't control any of this. And then we get another scientist that comes as their kind of house den mother person that looks after them and starts trying to figure out what they meant to do. But I think she's also one of them. which adds a really nice dynamic to it because there's weight to her character. And then there's other like characters that crop up that also are like them, but not necessarily want the best for them. And then there's a government thing, like there always is, as well.
Yeah.
And so you're just adding all these layers in. So by 3, I was like, the special effects are damn good because the choo-choo Cobra.
He's half trained.
Yeah, he's half trained.
Mexican goat sucker.
Yeah, the choo Cobra. Oh my god,
I can't even say it.
I can't say it now. The dog, the scary wolf, chupacabra.
There you go.
Got it. Well, looks great. There was one bit with the CGI where I went, that didn't look great, but not in him. It was in something else. And then the witty dialogue, the banter, and the characters themselves. I like them. Like, I want them to succeed in what they're doing. So they established it well. I haven't finished it yet, so I can't say whether it sticks the landing. But I've been very, very impressed. Which leads me back into what the hell, Netflix? Because seriously, if you don't market your series, it's not going to be picked up for season 2 because nobody's watching it. Nobody's talking about it. They didn't give it out to reviewers at all, as far as I could see. I saw one newslet out, a small website blog person had reviewed it before it dropped. I'm sorry, but they definitely didn't get screeners. They're just outright lying.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
To be first, yeah. But nobody got screeners for this.
I think there was a glitch on Netflix's back end because it showed like all of the stuff, like the Geek Week, even like there were no news releases. Just as kind of an insight into this. I mean, there were no press releases even tied to Geek Week with this series on Netflix's media site that we have access to. But on release day, it showed up.
Weird.
And the series showed up there. The press person showed up there. The image. No, it was the weirdest thing. And I'm like, I bet there was somebody forgot to check something, or there was some like timing thing set to it or something. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it like all of a sudden showed up, and I'm like, wow, that would have been nice to have a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
as I hit my computer there, but well, okay,
bonkers.
Yeah, I may go back to it. The transitions I think were also what the beginning just felt a little rough to me. As we, not so much between the characters, but when we would change like scenes into a different feeling of something, I'm like, okay, that was abrupt. And if that's how they're going to continue it, then that's just a style, which can be okay. I'll give it another shot.
Yep. Cool. And lastly, I'm not going to review it. I'm just going to flag it up for people. If you need a new animated series that, again, nobody is promoting, AMC has an original animated series called Pantheon that will blow your mind. I guarantee you will love this. Even if you don't like animation, this is a great story. It's fantastic, great, crazy voice cast, like big, massive. Must have had a massive budget. 8 episodes, all about 40 minutes long. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Rock on. All right. So there you go. That was that's our show. We appreciate you for sticking around. This is a much longer one, but you know what? I think we deserved it after 2 weeks of poo. There was a lot of good stuff. Let us know what are some of the best things that you're watching down in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, with Movies and Munchies. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. Don't forget also about our Patreon opportunities at patreon.com/thebeardedones. And there is also the extended audio version. So that's even a longer version this week, but as a podcast, and you can see that, listen to that. Not see that. You can listen to that wherever you find your podcasts. And if you go there, please rate and review us wherever you happen to listen. That will help us out greatly. We have linked those in the descriptions. And with that, we thank you for your time. We thank you for just hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Take care.